Shalom. Alright, so we're gonna deal with years and seasons. Still on Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. There's a lot of details right in there. It says, "And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years." So we're gonna deal with years, right? Like I said, a biblical year comes from the sun, right? No, we're going to deal with just the moon for a moment because a year consists of 12 months, 12 moons, right? It has to start at a particular place and ends at a particular place, right? For example, sometimes we'll say, okay, like your birthday, it's a year, right? Or a certain event, an annual event, but it is not a biblical year in terms of 12 months, 4 seasons, right? So, say an event that took place in August. Every August it happens. It's a course. It's a course of 12 months. The breeze. It's a course of 12 months, but it does not change. It does not change from 2022 to 2023, right? So the biblical year goes by 12 months, 4 seasons. So we're going to get this in the book of Kings. It's First Kings chapter 4 and verse 7. We're just going to get the fact that there are 12 moons. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provision. So he's telling you that 12 men, one per month, so 12 moons, that's the period of a year, right? But a biblical year, it has to go through 4 seasons, right? So, like on the Roman calendar, they start in January, so they start with winter, then they go to spring, then they go to summer, then they go to fall, then they come back to winter. That's 5, right? Part and part. So that's not a biblical year. And that's the first thing we need to be aware of. So a year, 12 months, 4 seasons, right? Now, some people, a year for them has 365 days, 366, some 360, right? This is for the Romans. This is for people who use the Enochian calendar. They divided 12, no, this 364, I think. They'll divide the 12 and they say 4 extra days. There's no such thing as an extra day. Alright? Extra sounds like a bonus. So it has to be within a year. So and it has to be in a month and in a week. There's no you cannot have a month here and there's a day between 2 months. It doesn't belong anywhere. No. That's it only in the imagination. Alright? So we're gonna deal with this. Now, to understand how many days in a year, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 7, a biblical year that is. Genesis chapter 7, and we're going to go to the last verse, right? Where am I? It says, verse 24, "And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days." So, 100 150 days. Okay, 150. Next, we're gonna go to chapter 8, verse 3. It says, and the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days. So this is the end of 150 days after the rain fell. All right. Now we're gonna go to verse 6. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days, 40. Now we're gonna jump down to verse 10. And he stayed yet other 7 days. Now we're gonna go to verse 12. And he stayed yet other 7 days. Remember, this took place from Noah was 600 to 601, 1 year. Now you're gonna add 7, 7, 4, 5 and 5, 10 and 4, 14, and that one you carry 15, and that one here 1 and 1, 2, plus the extra one 3, 354 days, right? Now this is why we have to observe each month to see how many days in it. The problem is that we do not use the moon, we use a calendar. So that's why on a calendar they can tell you that 28 days in a month, and you believe. Every month carries one new moon day and 4 Sabbaths. So it's impossible for a month to have 28 days, right? Okay, if you keep your new moon day here 28 days in February, according to them, when you keep your new moon day, right, how many Sabbaths you have there? That's not biblical. So no, you cannot count 28 physical days in a physical month or moon. This only happens with the Romans. No, in order to understand this, right, we need to understand seasons, which we're going to look into. How seasons work. All right, let me just erase these. All right, seasons. Okay, let me go first to Revelation just to get this here. Go back to Revelation 22 and verse 2. It says, in the midst of the street, this is talking about the heaven of it, and on either side of the river was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, right? On either side. So again, like I said, you have a northern hemisphere, you have a southern hemisphere. All right. So from here, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And it's the same thing over here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So this is the sun, right? Now, when the sun passes through the first moon and the stars, it brings what? The first day of spring. So this is why Exodus 12 verse 2 says, it shall be the beginning of months, meaning the beginning of the 12 months. So the first one starts there. The sun passes through it, you get the first month of spring. So these 3 months would represent the season of spring. The last 3 months here would represent your summer months, right? So year tide comes from both the sun and the moon working together, even though they are divided by the function. Just like on your clock. Hold on. Just like on your clock, you have an hour hand, a minute hand, a second hand. They all have to work together to tell the accurate time, but they are divided by function. So the hour hand cannot tell you what second it is, and the second hand cannot tell you what minute it is, and the minute hand cannot tell you what hour it is. But they all have to work together, but they are divided by function. So it's the same thing with the calendar here. The sun, moon, and stars, they have to work together, but by functions, they are divided. All right, again. So when the sun passes through the first month of spring here, what is happening in the south side? What are they having? Hmm? When it passes through here, what are they having? So this explains why in January we in the north have winter, and in January people in the South America and so forth, what do they have in January? Summer. So you see, it's like two opposite. So whatever is happening over, it's like looking in the mirror. When you stand facing your mirror, your right hand becomes your left. So that's the same thing that it says here. And there was there the tree of life which bare 12 manner of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nation. Oh, I want up here. And on either side of the river, and both sides, right? So whatever something is happening over here in the north, something is happening in the south, but they both come from the lights in the heaven, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and it's dealing with seasons. No, we're gonna understand how many days you're looking at here, right? In the season. So like I said, 1, 2, 3 months, 2, 3, and this is how it works, right? So here you can have 1 month with 29 days, another month 29 days, and 30. Here you get 88 days. Second season, you might have 30 days, another 30 days, and 29 days. There you have 89. All right. So we have 88, 88. Let's say two seasons have 88 days, right? And two have 89. So 9, this is 18, 26, 34, 4, and 3, right? And 35. So this is how you get back 355. But we have two things to deal with, because you see 365, 366 on the Roman calendar, right? Now, you can have 3 seasons with 89 days and one with 88. Again, what is this? 355. Now look at this. 365 minus and 3, motherfucker, let me do it this way. 366 minus so 11 extra days. 11, and from here 366 minus 354, again you have 11 days. Now, for you who know the story of how they changed the calendar, when they, when they changed back in, I don't remember the year, when they jumped from the 4th of the month to about the 15th of the month. This explains where the 11 days went, because these are imaginary. This is why sometimes you'll see you have what, 31 days in a month, but if you take all these extra 1 and 2 days, you'll see that they are non-existing. And to make it look real, what they had to do was to do this. They had to confuse you with merging 2 months, making you think that you can borrow a day from an old month. Can you, okay, we're in January now. Can you borrow a day from December last year and put it now? No, you can't. So you cannot take 19 days out of March to say it belongs to the old year, and the rest from the 20th onwards, you say it belongs to the new year. No, it changes every month, right? So that's what they did. No, this is why when you count it, you will still get 365 days, right? So if you should go by what they say, 30 days of September, April, June, and November, if you have those 30 days and the rest have 31, when you add them, you're always going to get 365. But out of this 365, 11 do not exist in physical reality. So on your Roman calendar, you will count it and you will get this correct. But the question is, can you count? Matter of fact, let me write it. Can you count 365 physical days from the first day of spring to the last day of winter? That's the question. Because if you say the beginning of the year is the 20th of March, that means you're saying the 19th of March is winter. You understand? Winter comes from the sun passing through the different constellations, not a day on your calendar, right? Everything comes from here, the lights in the heaven. So I hope there we understand seasons, right? And we understand years. So a year goes by, you know how the moon 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How the moons go around and change with the stars. All right, from spring, the first one gives spring. So using their Roman name, when the sun, let me just add it here. When the sun passes through what they call Aries, that's when the beginning. That's why Exodus 12 says that should be the beginning, right? Because the moon is always the same. But one thing that is distinctive is the pattern of constellations that change each month. So that was what the Most High was showing Moses. That was what Moses was teaching the Israelites. So astronomy was always part of our knowledge, not astrology. All right? Astrology is, you can go by the signs, but not by the actual constellations, right? So you might born in this time, but you're not dealing with the physical constellation. It is just the sign is different. It's not the same. The sign in astrology is different from the constellation itself. All right. That's why if you go out this, if you're born in this month, whatever your sign is, if you go out, you will not see that the stars, the constellation that make that, because they're not aligned, right? So maybe when some of you will recognize this is when you'll start getting snow in June. You'll realize that, oh, something is really wrong with the Roman calendar. Has nothing to do with, but the heathens will say climate change, right?